Imagine, for a moment, a world where money is no object, a world where the very idea of financial constraint dissolves into nothingness. In this world there are no bills to pay, no need to accumulate wealth, no fear of losing everything. And yet, in the face of such abundance, what becomes of us? You see, we live our lives under the illusion of scarcity. From the moment we are born, we are taught that there is not enough time, resources, opportunities. We are conditioned to work, strive, accumulate, to constantly race towards some distant goal. But what happens when that goal, that ever-elusive concept of enough, no longer exists? If money were no object, we might think that we would finally find freedom. Freedom to do what we love, to create, to travel, to be with the ones we care about. But here's the paradox. Without the need to survive, the motivation to create might fade. If survival is no longer a driving force, would we lose our spark? Would we find ourselves adrift, caught in the endless possibility of too many choices, too many comforts, too much ease? Perhaps, instead, we would finally find our true purpose. With no financial worries clouding our mind, we might be able to focus entirely on the present moment. To truly experience the now, without being shackled to thoughts of the future, would be a luxury few could imagine. And yet, without the constant hum of survival, we may rediscover what it means to live fully, not for what we can gain, but simply for the joy of being, and in that freedom we might begin to see what truly matters. Without money as a measure of success, the value of our lives would no longer be measured in possessions. We would turn toward relationships, experiences, and connections. The true wealth of life would lie not in what we own, but in how we engage with one another, how we touch each other's lives, how we create and share memories. Ultimately, the question remains, what if money were no object? The answer might surprise you. It may not be in what we acquire, but in what we choose to let go of. When we release our attachment to possessions, to status, to wealth, we may finally find that we were always free. The real treasure, you see, has always been within us. It is not in the pursuit of more, but in the embrace of less. Less stress, less worry, less desire. And in that space, the fullness of life becomes clearer than ever. Imagine, for a moment, a world without the illusion of scarcity. A world where the thought that there is never enough time, resources, opportunities, no longer holds sway over our minds. It's hard to fathom, isn't it? We are so conditioned to think in terms of limitation. From the moment we are born, we are taught that there is a finite amount of everything. We must fight for what we want, scramble for what we need, and hold tightly to what we have, lest it slip away. This is the world we live in, where everything is measured in terms of how much or how little we possess. But what if this entire system, this constant drive to acquire, to achieve, to accumulate, was nothing more than an illusion? What if scarcity, as we know it, was a fabrication of the mind? The idea that there is never enough is a concept we've been taught, not something that inherently exists in the universe. The natural world doesn't work on scarcity. Nature thrives on abundance. Every tree that grows, every flower that blooms, every raindrop that falls is part of an interconnected web of life that is far more abundant than we can comprehend. Yet we are told that we must fight for our place in this world, that there is not enough for everyone, and that we must continually strive for more. The problem with this belief is that it shapes how we live. It shapes our relationships, our ambitions, our fears. We live in constant anxiety, believing that we are running out of time, running out of resources, running out of chances. We are conditioned to see the world as a place of scarcity, and in doing so, we create the very scarcity we fear. The more we cling to the idea that there is not enough, the more we reinforce its existence. We become trapped in a cycle of endless striving, never fully satisfied with what we have, always searching for something more. But what if we could step outside of this framework? What if, for a moment, we could look at the world through a different lens, one that does not see limitation but sees possibility, one that sees abundance instead of lack? The truth is, we are not bound by the illusion of scarcity unless we choose to believe in it. When we let go of the need to constantly accumulate, when we stop measuring our worth by what we own or how much we have, we free ourselves from the very thing that holds us captive. This is not to say that we should abandon all practical considerations, that we should simply discard the need to meet our basic needs or work to sustain ourselves, but it does mean that we can shift our perspective. We can begin to see that there is more to life than the endless pursuit of possessions, status, and wealth. There is a richness in life that exists beyond what we can touch, buy, or sell. It's in the moments we share with others, in the beauty of a sunset, in the joy of a simple conversation, in the peace of being present. These things are abundant, yet they don't require us to possess them. They are freely available, always there, always offering themselves to us. By recognizing the illusion of scarcity, we begin to see the world differently. We start to realize that our true wealth lies not in what we own, but in how we experience the world and how we relate to one another. When we let go of the need to compete, to accumulate and to hoard, we open ourselves to the richness of life itself. We no longer see ourselves as separate from the world around us, but as an integral part of the web of existence. We understand that we are not here to struggle against the world, but to flow with it, to co-create with it, to find harmony within it. And so, the illusion of scarcity begins to dissolve. We begin to see that there is enough love, enough beauty, enough opportunity. We may not have everything we desire in terms of material wealth, but we have everything we need to live a fulfilled, meaningful life. The abundance of the universe is not measured in terms of possessions, but in the richness of our experiences and the depth of our connections. When we embrace this truth, we stop living in fear of lack and start living in the flow of abundance. The world, as it turns out, is not a place of scarcity, it is a place of infinite possibility. And when we see through the illusion of scarcity, we can begin to live with a sense of peace and gratitude, knowing that we are part of something far greater than ourselves. We live in a world where meaning is something we are constantly told to seek. It's as if meaning is a destination, something to be found, achieved, or acquired, like an elusive treasure hidden in the distance. We are taught to go out and search for it, to measure our lives by our accomplishments, our successes, the marks we leave on the world. But what if meaning is not something to pursue in the way we have been taught? What if it is not a destination, but a way of being, a way of experiencing life itself? This idea comes into focus when we consider the very nature of our existence. We are constantly bombarded by messages telling us what is important: fame, wealth, power, status, achievement. We are told that these things define success, that they bring meaning to our lives. We are conditioned to believe that our lives must be measured by what we can accumulate, by what we can achieve, and by the milestones we reach along the way. And yet, despite all the things we acquire, we often find that meaning remains elusive, like a shadow that slips away just when we think we have grasped it. The problem lies in the pursuit itself. We are taught to chase meaning as if it is something external, something that can be earned or found. We think that once we have this or that, once we climb to the top of the ladder, then and only then will we find fulfillment. But this constant pursuit is like chasing a mirage in the desert. We run faster and faster, reaching for something that always seems just out of reach. And yet, in our pursuit, we lose sight of something fundamental. meaning is not something to be gained, but something to be realized in the very act of living. In the relentless drive to find meaning in external accomplishments, we often miss the deeper truth that meaning is already present in our lives, waiting to be discovered in the most ordinary of moments. It is not found in the grand gestures or the achievements we collect along the way, but in how we relate to the world, in how we engage with the people we meet, and in the experiences that shape us. True meaning is not something we acquire, but something we uncover by simply being present, by engaging fully with life as it unfolds. The pursuit of meaning, then, is not about climbing some invisible ladder, but about peeling away the layers of distraction and illusion that keep us from seeing the beauty and depth of the present moment. It's about letting go of the need to measure and to compare, to accumulate and to achieve, and instead embracing the simple act of being. When we stop looking for meaning outside of ourselves, when we stop chasing after it as if it's something we must grasp, we begin to realize that meaning has always been there, right here, in the very fabric of existence. It's in the way the sun rises and sets each day, in the way the wind whispers through the trees, in the way a child's laughter fills the air. Meaning is woven into the ordinary moments, into the quiet pauses, into the spaces between thoughts. It is found not in what we acquire, but in what we experience. Meaning is not a thing we seek out in the future, but a state of being we can choose to inhabit in the present. The pursuit of meaning, then, is a bit of a misnomer. It suggests that meaning is something outside of ourselves, something we must strive for, work towards, or attain. But the truth is that meaning is not a goal to be reached, but a way of seeing, a way of being that is always available to us if we are willing to stop searching and simply be. It is in the acceptance of the present moment, in the awareness that life in all its fullness is already here, that we find the meaning we have been seeking. So, instead of pursuing meaning as an external achievement, what if we allowed ourselves to live meaningfully in each moment? What if we understood that the pursuit itself is the very thing that takes us away from the meaning we seek? By letting go of the need to find meaning, and instead embracing the fullness of experience as it comes, we begin to see that meaning is not something we must go after. It is something we already live. The simple act of being present, of fully experiencing life, is the key to the meaning we have been searching for all along. In this way, meaning is not something to be found, it is something to be realized. It is not a destination, but a way of seeing, of living, and of being. When we let go of the illusion that meaning is something outside of ourselves, we open the door to a deeper, richer experience of life, where every moment is filled with purpose, and every experience, no matter how small, becomes an opportunity to connect with the profound mystery of existence. When we talk about freedom, we often think of it as the ability to do whatever we want, whenever we want, without constraint. But true freedom, real freedom, is not the absence of constraints. It is the ability to create. It is the ability to shape our lives, our reality, and our experiences in a way that resonates with our deepest truths. The freedom to create is a far deeper and more profound kind of freedom than mere liberation from external pressures. It is the power to bring something new into the world, to give shape and form to the formless, to breathe life into the invisible. Imagine a world where there are no limits to what you can create, no financial constraints, no societal expectations, no barriers of any kind. In such a world, you would have the freedom to explore your deepest passions, to follow the creative impulses that arise within you, without worrying about whether they will be accepted, bought, or understood. The very act of creation becomes a form of expression, not a pursuit of gain. But here's the catch. We often think that the freedom to create means being able to do anything we want. In reality, it means being able to do the things that are most meaningful to us, the things that align with our true nature. True creativity flows from within, from the essence of who we are, and it is not born out of the desire to impress or to gain approval. It is born out of a need to express something authentic, to communicate something that is uniquely ours. In our world, the act of creation is often confined by rules, expectations, and constraints. We are conditioned to create for a purpose, to make money, to gain recognition, to fulfill some external goal. The freedom to create in its purest form does not exist within these confines. It requires us to release the need for validation, to let go of the pressure to succeed, and to embrace the act of creation for its own sake. This is when the true power of creativity reveals itself, not as a means to an end, but as an end in itself. When we free ourselves from the need to create for external rewards, we tap into a deeper well of creativity. We can start to create not out of obligation, but out of joy. We can create simply because we are inspired to do so, because the process itself brings us fulfillment. And this is the kind of freedom that is both liberating and transformative. When we create in this way, we are not just shaping the world around us. We are shaping ourselves, expanding our own understanding of who we are and what we are capable of. The freedom to create also invites us to reimagine what is possible. We live in a world that often feels constrained by what has been done before, by what we already know, by what we can already see. But when we tap into our true creative potential, we begin to see the world in a new light. We start to understand that everything around us is a creation, a product of imagination, of vision, of thought. We realize that we too can shape reality, not just as passive participants, but as active creators of our own experience. In the absence of limitations, we are free to explore new forms of expression. The boundaries between art, science, and philosophy dissolve, and we see that the act of creation is not confined to any one domain. Creativity is not just the realm of artists or musicians or writers. It is the realm of every human being, because each of us has the ability to create something unique and meaningful in our lives. Every decision we make, every action we take, is an act of creation. And when we embrace this understanding, we start to see that life itself is an ongoing creative process, constantly unfolding, constantly becoming. But perhaps the most profound aspect of the freedom to create is the realization that we are not separate from the world around us. We are not isolated individuals, trying to force our will upon the universe. Rather, we are participants in a larger cosmic dance, co-creating with the universe itself. Our creativity is not something that exists in isolation. It is part of the ebb and flow of life. It is in harmony with the world around us, with nature, with the people we encounter, with the experiences that shape us. When we embrace the freedom to create, we realize that creation is not a solitary act. It is a shared experience, a collaborative effort. We are creating not only for ourselves, but with others and with the world. The freedom to create is not about creating something for ourselves alone. It is about participating in the ongoing creation of the world. And in doing so, we find that we are not just creators, but co-creators of the very fabric of existence. So, when we think about freedom, let us not simply think of it as the ability to do whatever we want. Let us think of it as the freedom to create, freedom to express, to shape, to transform. It is the freedom to bring something new into the world, to participate in the ongoing dance of life, and to find our deepest fulfillment in the act of creation itself. In the modern world, we are told that more is better, that accumulation is progress, that excess is something to be celebrated. We are constantly driven by the desire for more possessions, more experiences, more status, more of everything. The idea is simple: if a little is good, then more must be better. And yet, in our endless pursuit of excess, we find that something profoundly paradoxical occurs. The more we accumulate, the less fulfilled we feel. The more we possess, the less satisfied we become. The paradox of excess reveals itself in the most unexpected ways. We think that having more will make us happy, yet happiness seems to slip further away with every new acquisition. The question then arises, what is this pursuit of excess really about? Are we seeking happiness, fulfillment, meaning, or are we simply caught in a cycle of consumption, driven by an inner emptiness that never seems to be filled? At first, the accumulation of more feels like a solution. We buy that new car, we move into a bigger house, we take a more lavish vacation, and for a moment there is a sense of achievement, a fleeting rush of pleasure. But as time passes, the excitement fades. The car becomes just a mode of transportation, the house just four walls, the vacation a distant memory. The very things we believed would bring us lasting joy begin to lose their luster. And so we begin again. We chase the next thing, the next thrill, the next big acquisition, only to find that once again it does not satisfy. This is the paradox. The more we seek to fulfill our lives with excess, the more we lose touch with the very things that bring us true contentment. The pursuit of more leads us to believe that happiness lies in external objects, in external achievements. But in reality, the happiness we seek is not found in what we acquire, but in what we already have, in the way we experience life in its simplest and most direct form. The things we possess, the accolades we accumulate, the experiences we chase, they are not the problem. The problem lies in our attachment to them, our belief that they hold the key to our fulfillment. Consider the nature of desire itself. Desire, when it is not rooted in true need or inner fulfillment, is an endless, ever-expanding hunger. It is as though we are always reaching for something just beyond our grasp. And yet, the more we reach, the more elusive it becomes. This is the nature of excess. It creates a cycle of craving that can never be fully satisfied. We are taught to believe that once we have more, we will be content, yet the more we have, the more we crave. It is a cycle that feeds upon itself, a trap that tightens with every new acquisition. But here is where the paradox deepens. While we chase after excess, we often find ourselves losing touch with the most meaningful parts of life. The simple pleasures, the warmth of a hug, the joy of a quiet moment, the peace of simply being, are drowned out by the noise of our constant striving. In our quest for more, we overlook the things that truly nourish us. We become disconnected from the present moment, distracted by the pursuit of the next big thing, the next thing that promises to fill the emptiness. But the emptiness is not to be filled with external things. It is an inner space that can only be filled with presence, with awareness, with a deep connection to life as it is. This is the essence of the paradox of excess. It is not in the things we acquire, but in the space we create within ourselves to simply be. When we let go of the need to accumulate, when we release the attachment to excess, we open up a space for contentment, for peace, for real fulfillment. We begin to realize that the more we seek, the less we find. The more we have, the less we appreciate. And so, the real freedom comes not in the accumulation of more, but in the freedom to let go of the desire for excess, to live simply, to embrace the present moment fully. The paradox of excess teaches us a profound lesson, that true wealth is not found in what we possess, but in what we are able to release. The more we let go, the more we make room for the things that truly matter, the things that cannot be bought, the things that cannot be measured, the things that are felt deeply in the heart and soul. The real treasures of life are not external, they are internal. They are the simple joys, the connections we share, the experiences that shape us, and the peace that comes when we stop chasing and start living. In this way, the paradox of excess is not a warning against wealth or success, but a reminder that true fulfillment lies not in accumulation, but in liberation, from the need for more, from the constant striving, and from the illusion that external things can ever fill the deep well of the human spirit. The pursuit of excess ultimately reveals that the most valuable things in life are often the ones that cost nothing at all. The experience of now, what does that mean? We live in a world that is always rushing ahead, always focused on the next thing. We are told to plan for the future, to think about what's coming, to set goals, to prepare for what is yet to be. And while there is wisdom in looking ahead, in preparing ourselves for what is to come, there is a truth far deeper, a truth that we so often overlook. The only time we truly have is now. This moment, right here, right now. This is where life is happening, and yet, how often do we really experience it? We are caught in the illusion that life happens somewhere else, in the future, in the past, in the imagined world of what might be or what could have been. We constantly think of what is to come, tomorrow's meeting, next year's vacation, the dreams we are working toward, and in doing so we miss the unfolding beauty of the present moment. The truth is, life is always happening now. The future, when it comes, will only ever be a present moment. The past, when we recall it, is always a present moment in our mind. The present is the only reality we experience, and yet we seldom give it the attention it deserves. We have been conditioned to think that happiness lies in the next achievement, in the next event, in the next moment. We are always looking forward, striving towards something, as if the next thing will bring us the peace and fulfillment we seek. But the paradox is this: the more we focus on the future, the more we neglect the present. We miss out on the richness of life that is unfolding right now, in the simplest moments, in the spaces between thoughts. What would it be like to live fully in the experience of now? What if we could stop constantly striving for the next thing and instead immerse ourselves in the fullness of this moment, without any need for change, without any desire for anything more? It is in this moment, in the present, that we can truly experience life in its fullness. This is not some abstract philosophy or ideal. It is the reality we live in. Every breath we take, every feeling we experience, every sound we hear, every sight we see, these are the true experiences of life. And yet we often fail to notice them, because we are so focused on the future, so caught up in the narratives we tell ourselves about what should be, what could be, or what will be. To live in the experience of now is to let go of all the distractions that keep us from truly seeing and feeling. It is to step out of the mental chatter that occupies our minds, to release the constant need to plan, to achieve, to measure, and instead to simply be. To be aware of the sensations in your body, to listen fully to the sound of the world around you, to feel the texture of the moment as it unfolds. In doing so, you come to realize that the present moment is far more expansive than we tend to believe. It is filled with the richness of life. Every sight, every sound, every breath a doorway into a deeper experience of being. This does not mean we ignore the future or dismiss the past, but rather it invites us to understand that the future is always a continuation of the present, and the past is merely a memory held in the present. The only time that is truly alive, the only time that is real, is the one we are in right now. And when we begin to inhabit this moment, to live with full awareness of the now, something remarkable happens. We realize that life itself is not something to be achieved or attained, but something to be experienced. The experience of now is a paradox in itself. It is both the simplest and the most profound thing we can experience. It requires nothing more than our full attention, and yet it opens up an entire universe of depth and richness. In our constant striving for more, for better, for what is next, we often overlook the profound beauty that is already here. But when we stop and truly experience this moment, we discover that it is enough. It is more than enough, it is everything. The truth is that the experience of now is not something we need to work for, not something we need to earn or achieve. It is always available to us, always within reach, if we are willing to stop looking elsewhere. When we are truly present, when we are fully engaged with the moment as it is, we find that everything we need is already here, in this very instant, and in that realization we find peace. The experience of now, then, is not just a philosophical idea. It is the key to living a fulfilled life. It is a reminder that we do not have to chase after the future. We do not have to change anything. We do not have to become anything other than what we are in this moment. We are enough, and life is enough. And when we embrace this truth, we can begin to live with a deeper sense of joy, of peace, and of connection, right here, right now. Purpose is a word we often hear, yet it's one that many of us struggle to truly understand. We hear people say, find your purpose, live with purpose, or live your purpose. But what does that mean? What is purpose, really? And why do so many of us feel as though we are searching for it? As if it's some external goal that we need to locate, as if it's something we must attain. What if we reimagined purpose, not as something we must find, but as something that we already are, something that flows through us, something we create moment by moment? In our society, purpose is often equated with a specific outcome, a career, a title, an achievement, a status. We are taught to define ourselves by our accomplishments, by the roles we play in the world, by the things we do. But what if purpose is not about doing at all? What if it is not about achieving, reaching, or becoming something more? What if purpose is about being? What if purpose is not a destination, but a process, not a thing to be attained, but a way of engaging with life, moment by moment? When we think of purpose in this way, we start to realize that it's not something we need to chase after, something that's outside of us waiting to be discovered. It's not some abstract ideal that we must strive toward in the future. Purpose is a living, breathing force that exists in every moment. It's not separate from us, it is within us. It is how we show up in the world, how we engage with our environment, how we connect with others, how we approach the ordinary moments of life. Purpose is about our presence. It is about our willingness to fully engage with life as it unfolds, without needing it to look a certain way or to conform to some predefined narrative. Think of a river. The river does not struggle to find its purpose, it simply flows. Its purpose is not in reaching a particular destination, but in the act of flowing itself. The river's purpose is to be a river, to move, to change, to carve its path through the landscape. And in doing so, it shapes the world around it. Its purpose is not something that is outside of it, waiting for it to fulfill. It is the very essence of what the river is. Similarly, our purpose is not something we must chase after, something we must define in narrow, limited terms. Our purpose is the way we engage with life, how we flow through it, how we express our unique essence in every action, every thought, every word. When we reimagine purpose in this way, we begin to realize that there is no singular, fixed purpose for each of us, no one right path that we must follow. Life is constantly changing, constantly evolving, and so too are we. Purpose is not something that can be boxed into a single narrative. It is something that can shift and evolve with us. It's in the relationships we build, in the way we help others, in how we contribute to the world, in the way we show up for ourselves. Purpose is not a static goal. It is a living, dynamic force that flows through us and guides us, always shifting, always present. But here's the most freeing part. When we realize that purpose is not a fixed outcome, we are free from the pressure of having to figure it out. We are no longer bound by the notion that we must achieve something grand or monumental to have meaning in our life. Purpose does not reside in the accolades or the accomplishments. It resides in the way we live, in how we engage with the world around us. Every moment holds the potential for purpose. Every action, no matter how small, can be infused with meaning. You are already living your purpose when you are fully present in the moment, when you are engaged with life, when you are open to what the world has to offer, and when you offer your authentic self in return. In reimagining purpose, we also come to understand that our purpose does not need to be grandiose or world-changing. The simplest acts, the smallest gestures, the quietest moments of kindness, these too are acts of purpose. There is purpose in a smile, in a conversation, in a moment of stillness, in the way we care for ourselves and others. Purpose is not about doing extraordinary things. It is about being extraordinary in the way we approach the ordinary. It is in the way we show up for life, how we live with intention, how we align ourselves with our deepest values. Reimagining purpose means letting go of the idea that we must find it somewhere out there in the future, or that we must make a mark on the world in a particular way. It means realizing that purpose is not something we can measure or quantify. It is not about how much we achieve or how many goals we accomplish. Purpose is about the richness of our experience, the depth of our connection to ourselves and others, and the way we engage with the world around us. It is not something we have to find. It is something we create, something we live. So the question is not, what is my purpose? The question is, how can I live with purpose here and now? How can I show up fully, engage deeply, and express the fullness of who I am in each moment? In doing so, you will discover that your purpose was never something you needed to find. It has always been there, in the way you live, in the way you engage with the world. And in this realization, you find the freedom to live a life of deep meaning, a life that is uniquely yours. In a world that constantly emphasizes the importance of owning things, houses, cars, gadgets, and possessions of all kinds, it's easy to forget what truly enriches our lives. We are told that ownership is the key to status, to success, and to happiness. But what if this narrative is flawed? What if, instead of focusing on what we own, we shifted our attention to something far more meaningful? Connection. What if true fulfillment came not from possessing things, but from forming deeper, more genuine connections with ourselves, with others, and with the world around us? We are born into a world that celebrates accumulation. From a young age, we are encouraged to gather, to collect, to own. Whether it's the toys we play with, the books we read, or the houses we dream of living in, the idea of ownership becomes ingrained in us. We believe that our worth is defined by the things we possess, and that happiness lies in the next acquisition. We imagine that once we own the right things, we will be satisfied, our lives will be complete. Yet, as we grow older, we begin to realize that the possessions we collect, no matter how impressive or numerous, fail to provide lasting fulfillment. In the pursuit of material wealth, we often find ourselves isolated. We accumulate things, but we lose touch with what truly matters. Our possessions, in their attempt to provide comfort, inadvertently become barriers to deeper connection. The more we focus on what we own, the more we are consumed by the need to protect and preserve these things. Our attention is drawn away from the relationships that nourish us and directed instead toward the care of our possessions. We become slaves to what we have, rather than free to engage with what truly enriches our lives. Now, contrast this with the idea of connection. When we focus on building meaningful relationships, when we invest in the people around us, when we nurture our bond with nature and the world, we begin to discover a different kind of wealth. Connection, unlike possession, does not tie us down. It opens us up. It frees us from the endless cycle of desire and acquisition. It teaches us that we are not defined by what we own, but by how we relate to the world and to others. Consider the moments that truly make life rich. These are the moments of deep connection, the shared laughter with a friend, the quiet understanding between two people, the moments of genuine presence that don't rely on any material object. These are the experiences that shape us, that move us, that leave us with lasting memories. They don't come from things, but from the way we engage with the world. They are born from the relationships we form, from the bonds we build, and from the love we share. The beauty of connection is that it does not require possession. We do not need to own another person to love them, nor do we need to own nature to experience its beauty. The most meaningful connections in our lives are the ones that transcend ownership. They are the moments of mutual respect, shared understanding, and mutual support. These are the connections that nourish us, that sustain us, and that help us grow. In fact, the more we focus on connection, the more we begin to see that what we have is already enough. When we learn to truly connect with the people around us, when we open ourselves to the world with kindness and compassion, we realize that we are already rich. Our wealth is not in what we possess, but in the relationships we foster. The love we share, the moments we create together, the experiences we live through. These are the true treasures of life. They are not things we can hold in our hands, but they are the essence of what makes life meaningful. Moreover, when we prioritize connection over possession, we also begin to see the world differently. We stop viewing others as competitors or obstacles, and instead see them as fellow travelers on this journey of life. We move from a mindset of scarcity, believing that there's not enough to go around, to a mindset of abundance, where there is always room for more love, more connection, and more understanding. In this shift, we free ourselves from the anxiety of competition and embrace the beauty of shared experience. The irony is that, in the pursuit of connection, we often find that we gain more than we ever could through possession. While possessions come and go, connections are lasting. They grow and evolve with time, and they enrich our lives in ways that material things simply cannot. We find that in building relationships and investing in others, we gain a sense of purpose, fulfillment, and belonging that no amount of possessions could ever provide. At the end of the day, when we look back on our lives, it won't be the things we own that we remember most. It will be the people we loved, the experiences we shared, and the moments of connection that truly defined us. Possessions can give us comfort, but they cannot give us meaning. Connection, however, is where the true richness of life lies. It is in the bonds we form, the love we give and receive, and the shared experiences that make us feel truly alive. So, perhaps it's time to ask ourselves, what if we stopped seeking more possessions and started seeking more connection? What if, instead of filling our lives with things, we filled our lives with people, with experiences, with presence? In doing so, we may find that the richness of life is not measured by what we own, but by how deeply we are connected to the world and to each other. Letting go is one of the most difficult yet liberating practices we can undertake in life. It's counterintuitive, really. We live in a world that constantly encourages us to hold on, to possess, to cling to what we have, whether it's material things, relationships, or even our own ideas about who we are and what we should become. We are taught to strive, to accumulate, to maintain control over every aspect of our lives. But what if the key to true freedom, to peace, to wisdom, is not in holding on but in letting go? The wisdom of letting go lies in the recognition that, in the end, we cannot control everything. Life is a flow, a constant movement. We cannot hold on to the river of time as it passes. We can only choose how we navigate it. The tighter we grip onto the things we feel we need to control, the more we limit ourselves, binding ourselves to past experiences, old hurts, and rigid expectations. And yet the truth is that the more we hold on, the more we are weighed down. We carry the burden of the past, of our own fears, of our desires for the future, and we find ourselves trapped in a cycle of striving that leads to exhaustion rather than fulfillment. Letting go, then, is not about giving up. It is about releasing the hold we have over things that no longer serve us. It's about recognizing the futility of clinging to that which is beyond our control. It's about surrendering to life's flow, embracing its impermanence, and trusting that we do not need to possess everything in order to find peace. In this letting go, we create space for new experiences, new growth, and a deeper sense of peace. What often holds us back from letting go is fear. Fear of losing something we love, fear of losing control, fear of the unknown. We fear that if we let go, we will be left with nothing, that we will be lost in the void. But the truth is that in letting go, we make room for the unknown to enter. We allow the universe to work in its own mysterious ways, to bring us what we truly need, not what we think we need. We let go of our attachments and allow life to unfold as it will. And in doing so, we find that the very thing we feared losing is often replaced by something even more beautiful and expansive than we could have imagined. Letting go is also an invitation to be present. When we are clinging to the past or worrying about the future, we are not truly living in the present. We are consumed by what was or what might be, but not what is. To let go is to come back to the now, to the moment that is unfolding right before us. It is to release the stories we tell ourselves about who we were or who we should be, and simply be who we are in this moment, without attachment or judgment. When we let go of the need to control or fix everything, we open ourselves up to the beauty of simply being, of experiencing life as it comes, without the weight of our expectations. This act of letting go is also a recognition of our interconnectedness with everything. When we let go of our attachment to things, we recognize that we are not separate from the world, but part of a vast, ever-changing tapestry. We realize that the things we cling to are not ours to own forever. They are part of a larger flow, just as we are. By letting go, we align ourselves with the natural rhythms of life, where everything flows, changes, and returns to the source. In this sense, letting go is not a loss, but a return to the natural state of being free, open, and in harmony with the world. One of the most profound aspects of letting go is that it can lead to transformation. When we release the need to control or hold on to things, we open ourselves up to new possibilities. We make room for growth, for change, for something new to emerge. Holding on to the old keeps us stuck, keeps us from evolving into the person we are meant to be. But when we let go, we allow space for new experiences, new insights, and new relationships. We release the old patterns and behaviors that no longer serve us, and in their place, something more authentic, more true to our essence, can take root. Letting go also involves accepting that everything in life is temporary. All things come and go: the people we love, the possessions we cherish, the experiences we have. When we truly embrace the impermanence of life, we begin to see that there is no need to cling to anything. We can love deeply, but without attachment. We can enjoy life, but without expectation. We can experience the beauty of the present moment, knowing that it too will pass, and that this transience is what makes it so precious. The wisdom of letting go teaches us that nothing is permanent, and in accepting that, we find freedom. Finally, letting go is not a one-time act. It is a practice. It is something we must do every day, in every moment. We must constantly remind ourselves to release the need to control, to hold on to the past, to fear the future. It is an ongoing process of surrender, of trust, and of acceptance. And with each act of letting go, we move closer to the peace and freedom that we seek. The wisdom of letting go is a path to liberation. It is a path to living with open hands, to experiencing life as it is, without the weight of attachments and expectations. It is a reminder that true freedom lies not in holding on to what we think we need, but in releasing what no longer serves us and allowing life to unfold in its own perfect way. When we learn to let go, we discover that we have everything we need right here, right now. And in that discovery, we find peace.